I've only ever been to 3 job interviews in my entire life. Every single one has asked me the exact same question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, the first thought that would pop up in my head was always, definitely not at this job. But what I would actually end up saying was, in college. It's short, logical, and plain simple to say. But to tell you the truth, I don't know what college I'm going to, and more than that, I don't even know what I'm studying, is what slothful Edom with her killer addiction to Netflix would have said. Does it ever concern you how many things a person can say without meaning it? How many things you can say without meaning it? Like, for example, I asked my brother what jokes to put in this speech, and he told me to put my face in it. Well, the joke's on you, buddy. The joke's on you. You hear this laughter? Who's the real joke? Who's the real joke? But seriously, people genuinely live in a fantasy realm, and it's alarming. It's a realm that's so difficult to escape because you're simply unaware that you're living in it. There's this phenomenon with ants. It's called a death spiral. I know it looks gross, but essentially, but to give you some background knowledge, ants naturally follow the pheromones of other ants in front of them for direction. It's how they find their food. But there are cases where an ant comes off course and the ants behind it begin to follow. Now, they're unsuspecting and diligently march to their own deaths as the ants start wrapping around and trotting in a circle, picking up each other's pheromones. They continue to do this until they all eventually die from exhaustion. Let me ask you this. How far off does this phenomenon sound to the society that you and I call home? I'm not arguing that we're all just some ants running around in circles, but I'm attempting to help you see the majority of people are stuck in a trance. And this trance, it's blinding. This trance is the seemingly never-ending cycle of slothfulness. Just last summer, I had a personal enlightenment. I became aware of my resemblance to a sloth. I came to the realization that I was paving myself a path towards failure. I would make money, spend that money, and sleep into 2 p.m. And what did that get me? Literally nothing, like literally nothing. And no, it was not a good morning. Wells Fargo's trifling. They're trifling. I wasn't worried about school or making money or getting a permit to drive. Everything that I focused on was superficial. Walking with your eyes pointed at the ground will never prepare you for what's coming ahead. It was a quiet battle that I fought. I was attempting to run, while unbeknownst to me, my feet were encapsulated in cement. I was doing absolutely nothing to achieve my goals, and I wasn't stressed out about it because I didn't know what I was doing. I was stressed out because I knew exactly what I was doing. I was irresponsible, unmotivated, and the scariest of all, stagnant. In fact, I'm not afraid to admit that it was more of a downward slide. So I took it to Google to learn what exactly it was that I was suffering from, and I learned that it was a mental block. Now, there are various contributors that will trigger a mental block, but here are 3 that I know you all will resonate with the most. First, there's fuzzy focus. This is the condition of cluttering your surroundings, preventing you from completing tasks. I know it sounds silly, but essentially your brain likes order. And when your visuals constantly remind you of chaos, you simply don't have the motivation to get up and do anything. Second, there's perfectionism. This is what I'm sure more of you are aware of, and it's simply the refusal to accept anything short of perfection. And lastly, burnout. This is the constant sensation of feeling overwhelmed. It's the result of overworking yourself. Do you notice the trend? Each and every one of these occur at the hand of your brain. The mind is the greatest enemy when it comes to handling psychological tension. This means that attacking the issue doesn't start with external decisions. Rather, it starts with rewiring the very thing that's debilitating your decision-making skills. Because brains don't come with memory cards that you can just wipe clean from bad habits, I had to approach this slowly. I recognized these mental blockers, each in their own ways, in my own life, and all it took was one Google search. That's called step 1. Step 1 towards resolving an issue that I disproportionately blew up. Your mind will deceive you. It is so dramatic and makes big deals out of minor problems. So after this very school year started, I made the effort to dip my toes into waters that I thought would give me frostbite. I pushed myself to join the debate team, disregarding the fear that the activity inflicted on me. I applied for a plethora of opportunities that I could stack up into my resume. And I applied for rigorous courses that still bring stinging tears to my eyes on occasion. And why did I do this? Because I was afraid. I was so afraid of being mediocre. But of course, when is anything ever that simple? Despite all of my effort, I remained stressed. And finding what the culprit was for this took a little more digging. I found that it was called impostor syndrome. It's the condition of not being able to experience success internally, despite being a high-achieving individual. It leads you to believe that you're a fraud. Now, this is the problem that to this day I cannot resolve. I can't help feeling like my achievements are underwhelming and will literally talk myself out of my own successes, like getting a test score back and it being 100%. Somehow, that tiny little convincing voice in the back of my mind will tell me, oh, the test was easy anyway. Everyone probably got 100%. But slowly, like that sloth, I'm learning to be considerate of myself. And I want to make a testimony to the fact that success won't come to you from being perfect. So stop expecting perfect and try for unique. Remember how it feels to create big changes in your life, because we get put under the impression that we aren't doing enough when success comes to us incrementally. So realize that reframing your perception of challenge will unlock a multitude of opportunities for you. And I'm not telling you all of this because I've made it that far. I'm telling you this because I sit in the exact same position that many of you sit in, teenager or adult. I am not perfect by any means. I don't have straight A's, but I'm close. And I don't have perfect attendance, but something that I am is trying. And with trying comes this better-looking cousin, triumph. Triumph to me means scoring an A on a test, even if I don't believe I deserve it, or storing a little money in the bank, or better yet, qualifying to debate at the National Speech and Debate Tournament with the best partner that anybody could ever ask for. It's okay to have lapses in your process, but never forget that most things don't come out of luck. There is a direct correlation between your actions and what comes out of them. So force yourself to stand out and see the process through, and only envy the person that you have the potential to be.